Hey all you super players out there, Ben Lones aka 5 Buck Lunch coming at you with a tournament report for this weekend where I took Piccolo and got top 8 at the regional. I wanted to go over the whole weekend though, as I did very well in the regional and very not good in the Tournament of Power, and I kind of want to go over the reasons for that and why. I'll have the deck profile later in the video. It's pretty similar to the Piccolo list I put up earlier. I think it's only 3 cards different, but I'll also explain my side deck. So in the Vegas regional I went 7-2 overall, got top 8. The only thing I lost to in the Swiss rounds is a Broly Surge, and it's because I messed up and forgot that he gains double strike and didn't negate when I was supposed to. Other than that, I was undefeated in Swiss. In top 16, my opponent was playing in the Tournament of Power, so I didn't get a chance to play against him. And then in top 8, I lost to a very, very close match to a Piccolo mirror. At the Tournament of Power, I changed a couple cards. For the most part, I was playing the same deck, and I lost to 2 cooler decks, which I found out that this is by far the worst matchup for the deck. Cooler draws a lot more cards than I initially thought it did, and so I was having a really difficult time emptying their hand, and eventually they just outpaced me once they got me to Surge. I also lost a very close match to one Piccolo player. I just drew cards in really, really awkward orders, and I wasn't able to win that game. Unfortunately, 4-3 was not good enough to top 64, so on Sunday I went and played my top 8 match for the regional. Now, let's go into the deck that I played over the weekend. So the deck I played over the weekend was the Piccolo hand control deck. And as you can see from the list here, the only 3 cards differently from the video I put out was I swapped in a All Too Easy. The reason I put this in there, and you'll see later, I actually switched the Weesis Coercion in my side into a second one of these for the Tournament of Power, is because I wanted a way to stop the Victory Strike from Invoker without them being able to discard it out of my hand. So if you have this in your hand and they use their leader effect to discard a card out of your hand of their choice, they can discard your negate, and then all of a sudden you can get Victory Striked. Well, even if they discard this, you can still use it. It's also useful against the Cell Secret Rare, because if they discard it out of your hand, you can still negate the Cell Secret Rare's attack. I went down to 2 Dimension Magic. Negates weren't super important, and I was siding pretty heavily for the Rush decks. So if I took a round 1 loss to a Rush deck, you could usually win game 2 and 3 with my side deck. I also switched Tapion for the green mill 3. I wanted a blue one so that I'd have more blue cards to awaken with. I was having a little bit of issues in testing where if I was playing against, say, a Piccolo and they were discarding my hand, or I got Gogeta 7 and I didn't draw a blue card, then I couldn't Surge. So I switched these up into the blue ones instead of the green ones. Other than that, the general idea of the deck is the same. Oh, I had a 1 artificial impact too. That was the other thing. I wanted extra outs to Invoker and extra outs to the Successor lines. The Successor and the Invoker deck both play really bad if you have a extra card way to remove their battle cards, because they need to keep their battle cards on the board in order to play their big combos. So if you have Artificial Impact, not only does it take a card out of their hand, but it stops Invoker and Successor kind of in its tracks. Also, you can get it back with the Super 17, so if you need extra copies, you can always get extra copies, and you can combo with it, so it's not like it affects your combo power in your hand. I did want to talk about the side deck, though. So I side decked exclusively for the 2 bad matchups I expected, which was Gohan and Boo, Black Boo. I didn't actually play any Black Boo decks, which is kind of surprising. They were doing pretty well towards the middle of the tournament, but towards the end they kind of started falling off. I think this deck has a really awkward matchup against the Black Boo, so I was siding 3 Android 16s and 2 Android 21s in additional to the Android 21 I have main decked. The idea was that you can use Senzu Beans and other defensive options in order to stall out until you can get to 8 energy, and then you just drop Android 21 and you take all of their energy away, and then you just win from there. If you drop Android 21, you pretty much win, so since they only have black energy. So that was kind of my plan against that deck. And then I was afraid of Gohan, which turns out I shouldn't really have been afraid of Gohan, because I went 3-0 against it, and I actually won most of the game ones too. I think it's just, if you know how to play against the Gohan deck, it's not nearly as scary. Like, you just have to know what all their options are at all times, and know when they can go into those triple strikes. But if you can defend yourself from their initial attack, they're at 2 life, and you can just attack, use a couple of Cell's Kamehamehas, or special beam cannons, take a few cards out and put them to 1 life, they can no longer triple strike you, so they can't really win anymore. So yeah, I actually, in retrospect, I would have probably not cited these heavy kick Krillins and would have cited some more options for the mirror match, probably some of the draw 2 Ape Gokus, to kind of help me keep up with the mirror and with Cooler, because that's what I had the most problems with. Props for the weekend to both of the tournament organizers. They both did a very good job. I know there was a little bit of controversy with at the Tournament of Power with them not playing round 8, even though they said they would. I think we just need a standardized number of rounds. I'm kind of getting sick of this, like, play until there's no undefeateds. It's always the same anyways, so can we just play like the 7 or 8 rounds? I'm there for 8 hours. I think it's okay for me to stay for one more. But it's not up to me. It's up to tournament organizers. And other than that, both tournaments were run incredibly excellently. It's nice. The last couple of Dragon Ball events have run extremely smoothly, and we've had it with multiple tournament organizers, which tells me that the game has a very good future in terms of competitive play, which is always very nice to see. Props to my friend Michael Friend. I did his deck profile yesterday, but he got top 32 at Tournament of Power with Serge Broly, which it's very difficult to do because it has a bad matchup against Piccolo, and Piccolo is by far the most played deck. And yeah, so hope you like the little update here. Go out there, play some Super, and have some fun.